Thank you very much for joining us, Comrade Juwon.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
You've stood with Sowore through his activism and numerous arrests. When the news broke of his recent detention, what was your immediate reaction?
Yeah, well, my immediate reaction to the development, as a matter of fact, it was what has happened is not is a series represents a series of ongoing repression against the civic space. It represents part of a broader persecution of activists, and particularly Omoyele Sowore over 4 decades of activism in this country, and most particularly under the government of President Tinubu. You will recall that the government of Buhari spent the whole of his second term persecuting Omoyele Sowore, restricting him in Abuja. I was not allowed to see his family. His brother was killed. Was under the government of Buhari. We also had situations where he practically was not allowed to move anywhere in this country. And now, the government of Tinubu have not abandoned this unlawful and unreasonable authoritarian tragedy trajectory of the government of Tinubu, of Buhari. As a matter of fact, Tinubu has consolidated. It was under the government of Buhari that young people were violently killed. The Lekki massacre, and several other massacres across the country under the government of Buhari in 2020. 4 years after, the government of Tinubu did the same thing during the End Bad Governance protest. Over 40 protesters, young people, women, and children, were murdered. All right.
Go ahead.
So I was saying that even presently, about 11 young people are facing treason charges, for protesting, for being part of the End Bad Governance protest. They are, they, they are facing capital punishment for exercising that. It was the same on the presidency of Tinubu. Rather, we have had a situation where the Cybercrime Act has been used, weaponized against activists, opposition voices in this country, journalists, young people, social media users, and as an IGP of police, may be shopping for judges to grant unlawful order to hold Sowore, also under this the terrible cybercrime act. Under the government of Tinubu, a legitimate government was removed. A government was removed in Rivers State, unconstitutionally, and replaced with a sole administrator who was a former military general. Yeah. So, and the impact of which is that Tinubu declared military rule in Rivers State. So what we are experiencing, even with the Sowore's treatment, is a pattern of authoritarianism that have been characteristics of the government of the All Progressive Congress since it came into office in 2015.
Good. Now, Sowore's legal team alleges that the Inspector General of Police, Egbetokun, is using the Nigerian police as a personal tool for vendetta. And there are claims that the police both filed the petition against Sowore and are the ones detaining and investigating him. How does the Take It Back movement interpret this? Is it a political repression, abuse of process, or something systematic?
Well, let me. What is going on generally, also with the persecution of Sowore, and particularly in the case of the police, reflects a deeper rot. Reflects a deeper rot in the entire police institution and institution of government, such that the IGP of police can be the accuser. Is also the judge
Exactly.
and is the executioner. What in what part of the world do we have such kind of reckless misuse of power and wasteful use of taxpayers' money? It is disgraceful what Egbetokun had turned the police into. That they have become a joke, and it's an embarrassment, and it's much astounding. Not astounding, by the way, but it is condemnable that the government of Tinubu still retains such lawless police officer, and it is the reason we are still insisting. And our protest tomorrow, the core demand of our protest tomorrow is that Egbetokun must go. He should not be a police officer at all, let alone occupy the highest seats within the police institution. It's an embarrassment.
Sowore has often said that the Nigerian authorities fear a truly awake and politically conscious citizenry. Based on your experience, do you think the Nigerian state is actively working to suppress activism in Nigeria today?
That is exactly what the government of the All Progressive Congress have been doing since it came into power in 2015. As a matter of fact, central to its policy is repression of dissent, and it's the reason they've they've sponsored more bill to go after dissent, to repress freedom of expression, to repress protest. They've taken more action in this direction that they've actually taken in the direction of governance, people-centered governance. Under the government of Tinubu was when the Cybercrime Act, the Cybercrime Act 2024 is being used to go after voices of dissent so brazenly and so openly, so violently. We had a situation whereby over the last how many years? Over the last 10 years of the government of the All Progressive Congress, they went after social media, Twitter. The government of Buhari banned Twitter. It was even under this government, the APC government, that they were prescribing death by hanging, under a social media regulation bill. You understand? So it is repressing voice of dissent as a central to their policy of repression. Journalists have been most attacked. I mean, they laid siege on trade union centers. Civil society organizations were being intimidated. The Take It Back movement had its account frozen. Injunctions, unlawful injunctions, illegitimate injunctions were gotten against leaders of the Take It Back movement and civil society organizations. Office of Serap was invaded. The NLC secretariat was invaded. The NLC president was beaten. In Imo State for organizing legitimate strike action of
workers.
Of workers. So this is it's a government that is intolerant of dissent. It is a government that has shown that it has only come to steal, kill, and to destroy. But Nigeria and the Nigerian people, we would not let this continue.
Now, is the Take It Back movement planning any coordinated protest in response to this detention?
Yes, we are happy. There will be. We've called for a nationwide protest. As a matter of fact, currently, there's protest ongoing in Abuja, and but tomorrow there will be the protest is going to be spreading to all other parts of the country, in Lagos, in Ibadan, in Kwara State, in Kaduna, in Kano, Oyo, Osun State. Everybody, even in the US, people are planning to protest in the US, in Canada, in the UK. So it's going to be a thread of resistance from tomorrow.
Do you think the mainstream media has done enough in order to report fairly and critically on this issue, or has the story been muted or distorted?
Yeah, well, I would commend every media houses that have reported some of these incidents in the most objective and the most consistent way. But more work has been done really by ordinary Nigerian people, out there on social media, on Twitter. Presently, the TIB organization is facilitating to Twitter space, and over 60,000 Nigerians are on that space, listening and engaging directly with us. So it's we want to give our appreciations to such Nigerians that are trending the conversations on Twitter, and more of them will be out tomorrow.
Finally, critics have often claimed Sowore is too radical or unrealistic. As the coordinator of the Take It Back movement, how do you respond to that criticism? And what do you think Nigerians misunderstand about him?
Yeah, can you repeat that again, please?
I said critics have often claimed that Sowore is too radical or unrealistic.
Yeah.
As the coordinator of the Take It Back movement, sir, how do you respond to that criticism? And what do you think Nigerians misunderstand about him?
Yeah, I think Nigerians are not angry enough. For Sowore has spent his entire time fighting the behemoths that have held this country to ransom. He was part of the generation that fought against the military. They were fighting for democracy, but what they had now is civilian dictatorship, as opposed to what they spent their youth fighting for. And after that, Sowore left this country. He experienced governance at other parts of the country. Many Nigerians, many people here in Nigeria do not know what governance feels like. The Nigerian state have governed the Nigerian people like a conquered slave. But the interesting thing now is that Nigerians are waking up and they're taking back their country.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Comrade Juwon, for your insightful perspective. We hope that we'll continue to reach out to you, especially as these events unfold. Thank you.